So I have some ranger-oriented clothes, and then I'm building a warrior line where I will go back in history, from pre-Greek days as far back as I can. I'm going to have famous quotes from warriors of all ilks, including the terrible Hitler was, a demon on steroids, but he had some pretty good one-liners.
I'll be doing.
So everybody from the great ones to the infamous and terrible ones, and I'm going to have quotes in their languages put up in Japanese, English, Russian, Greek, whatever it was, and then in English, and I'm going to have some kanji kana done and some various other artwork. But the point is to look to our past, to leaders both good and terrible, and take from them what you can.
That was really bad.
So I honestly don't know where to start talking about this video, because this story has been batshit crazy. So Austin St. John, known for playing Jason, the original Red Ranger, has been in a lot of hot water within the past couple of years, and more recently he's found himself in the firing line of controversy once again. I mean, a couple of weeks ago he found himself in a lot of hot water because he was promoting Jason David Frank's son Jacob, and a lot of people did some digging about Jacob, and they found out that he was arrested for doing some not so good things, we'll say. Not so good things with kids, we'll say that, if you catch my drift. And more recently, Austin St. John went on the Jim Cummings podcast to do a podcast. And at the end, he was asked if he's got any merch or anything that he wants to promote, his socials and stuff like that. And you've probably seen the clip floating around online. But if you haven't seen it, here it is again.
So I have some ranger-oriented clothes, and then I'm building a warrior line where I will go back in history, from pre-Greek days as far back as I can. I'm going to have famous quotes from warriors of all ilks, including the terrible Hitler was, a demon on steroids, but he had some pretty good one-liners.
I'll be doing.
So everybody from the great ones to the infamous and terrible ones, and I'm going to have quotes in their languages put up in Japanese, English, Russian, Greek, whatever it was, and then in English, and I'm going to have some kanji kana done and some various other artwork. But the point is to look to our past, to leaders both good and terrible, and take from them what you can.
Yeah, so Austin St. John wants to start a new clothing line bearing the likeness of Power Rangers, but his new clothing line is going to include quotes from various historical figures, people like Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, and most notably, Hitler. So, yeah, that's the biggest what the fuck you can take away from that clip that it's been circulating online. He wants to put a Hitler quote on a shirt. Who the fuck wants to do that, to be honest? What? Who sat down with him and told him that this was a good idea? Does he not have a publicist? Does he not have someone he can run ideas by? Or are there actually people working for him giving him the thumbs up and telling him that's a really cool idea? It wouldn't surprise me. I've heard stories about the staff that he has promoting his social media here and there. But what Power Ranger fan is going to go to his website, look at his merch, and see a quote or an image from Hitler and be like, add to shopping cart, I'm going to buy 2 of those. One for me, one for the wife. We're going to wear them together. Who the fuck would buy a shirt with a Hitler quote on there, especially a Power Rangers fan? I don't see any Power Ranger fans buying something like that. There's probably some crazy fans out there that would, I don't want to name names, but there's probably some out there that would. But who ran that by him thinking that was a good idea? Who gave him the thumbs up saying that was a good idea? Like I said, does he not have a publicist? Does he not have someone saying, maybe we shouldn't do that? Maybe we shouldn't put a Hitler quote on a t-shirt. The Bruce Lee idea sounds pretty cool. The Chuck Norris idea sounds pretty cool. But maybe let's not put the Hitler quote on a shirt. I don't think that's going to sell well. It's just fucking madness. I feel like that this is career suicide for Austin St. John right now, because he's made bonehead decision after bonehead decision, and I feel like he can't dig his way out of this one. A lot of people are calling to boycott him from going to Power Morphicon and other conventions. I can understand that. I can understand where people are coming from, because you don't want a controversial figure like that going to conventions. So I can understand where a lot of people are coming from. But his old, manager that used to do his booking, I don't know if he still is, but the guy that mocked JDF on the anniversary of his death, that was the guy who was sort of booking his conventions back in the day. I don't know if he still is, but that was the guy that was booking him conventions back in the day. But honestly, what the fuck was Austin thinking when he actually thought that was a good idea? Even when you watch, the Jim Cummings podcast, you can see the expression on the guy's face as he just keeps talking. It's sort of this deadpan expression where he's like, fucking hell, this guy's crazy. But what baffles me is, someone thought this was a good idea to leave this into the final cut of the podcast, which is also baffling within itself. That blows my mind as well, but, oh god. Honestly, I feel I don't know if Austin's going to make a statement about this, but you can already see that a lot of other people in the Rangers have disavowed him. Amy Jo Johnson was throwing shade at him. I don't know if anyone else in the Power Rangers actor sphere has disavowed this or thrown shade at him as well. But yeah, things aren't looking good for Austin St. John right now, and we'll see where this goes from here, because this is just a fucking clown circus with what he's recently said, and I honestly hope that he doesn't bounce back from this. If you think putting a Hitler quote on a shirt is a good idea, then I think you're a fucking crazy person. And I know it sounds like that I'm going off the deep end and going on an unhinged rant right now, but I just have to talk about it. I've seen this on my feed all day while I was at work. I saw this hours before I think it even started popping off on social media, but when it did catch a lot of people's eyes. But holy fucking shit, I want to see where this is going to go. Is Austin going to respond? If he is, I want to read his response and I want to laugh at it. But we'll go from there. But this video is probably not going to get monetized with how many times I said the word Hitler and a bunch of other not safe for work words that aren't YouTube friendly, but we'll go from there. But yeah, what do you guys think of this recent event? Because I wouldn't buy a shirt like that. I'm sure you wouldn't buy a shirt like that. I'm sure no one would buy a shirt like that with a Hitler quote on there. But if you would, please don't speak out. I don't want to hear from you. But what do you think of this recent controversy? Do you think Austin St. John can bounce back from this? Do you think he won't bounce back from this? Do you think he'll make a response? I want to get a big discussion going on in the comment section down below, because I know there are some Austin St. John defenders. There was a lot of people defending him back during the COVID thing. There was a lot of people defending him a couple of weeks ago when it came to the Jacob Frank stuff. But yeah, this has just been a whole clown circus for Austin St. John for the past couple of weeks, or even going back a couple of years ago, and we'll see what happens from here. But anyway, guys, I think I've rambled on long enough. Hopefully I didn't sound too crazy with this video, but yeah, I'm out of here.